Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with my lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this video will be edifying and to the point. And the title of this lesson, all right, it's going to be Know When to Hold Them and to Fold Them. All right. And basically this lesson is basically going into like your Clark Kent and your Superman. All right, knowing when to put on your cape, and basically knowing when to you know uh pretend to be a part of the crowd. All right. Basically just moving in wisdom and understanding. All right. And you know I work at this little job or whatever. All right. And everybody, what is it? Thanksgiving just passed up. All right. We in the midst of Christmas. All right. Christmas cheer, New Year's, all this other stuff. And, you got certain people, they got that spirit on them. They got the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of these holidays on them. And, particular topics come up, whether it be of these holidays or it be of the world. People try to pick your brain and try to figure out, which category to put you in based off your answer or whatnot. And honestly, the best thing to do is, just to, keep a neutral response or no response at all. You know what I mean? And, it's basically walking in wisdom. That's walking with understanding. And that's basically, like the scriptures say, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. All right, because ultimately, you can make, again, being wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove, and just not giving people really an idea of who you are, man. Walking around with a question mark on your head. And I don't speak to anybody too much. At my job, I kind of just do my work. I don't really speak or talk to anybody unless, they talk or speak to me. So everybody at my job is pretty much, when they are around me, they trying to pick my brain or figure out what I'm about or where I'm from or, blase, 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 blase. And I don't really give them anything. I don't give them any information. Or I just tell them what they want to hear, you know what I mean? So, it's just a part of being in the truth and, being wise. You know what I mean? Jake be going off on many of things and, many of things that I hear Jake talk about or, or get into, I can easily pull out a scripture or say that the Lord said this or this, that, and the third. But, that would be, being over righteous. The scripture says, be not over righteous that you destroy yourself to the point to where, now you don't even have a job anymore because, you told, Jake that the white man's the devil. Now, is the white man the devil? Yes, he is. But, that's not beneficial for your job to, just to be spewing those things out, to Jake, man. And some people's spirits you can kind of like, you can read and you can tell that they kind of, they have a little bit of of a zeal, but not according to knowledge though. But still, even then, you still, you know, uh, take that with a grain of salt, man. All right, but let's get some scriptures and go ahead and end it out. So this is Matthew's chapter 10, verse 16. It says, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves, man. So that's what it's really all about. All right, it's about being, all right, wise as serpents and harmless as doves, man. All right, moving with discretion. All right, basically putting on your Clark Kent. All right, or putting on your Peter Parker. You know, you're Clark Kent or Peter Parker in the world, but when you're on the streets, on the highways and the byways, you're Superman. All right, you're Spider-Man, whatever you want to call it. All right, you're doing what you need to do. All right, and if it just so happened to be that somebody sees you from that job or sees you in the world out there preaching the truth, then you stand 10 toes down in what you believe in. But other than that, man, you don't, you really don't, try to push that vibration on people, man, because again, they are of the world, you know. But let's continue. Let's get this real quick. This is Colossians chapter 5, verse 4. Shalakia, 4, verse 5. It says, walk in wisdom towards them that are without, redeeming the time, because, these people have the mindset of Babylon and America continuing. All right, so you telling them that, you're not supposed to eat pork, you're not supposed to, do this, that, and the third, and all of this other stuff, man, you can potentially create an enemy, and how Jake is, you'd be like, oh, man, why you told me that? I didn't want to hear that, you know what I mean? Like, Jake is to the point to where he's double-minded, all right? He's double-minded in the sense of, it's either, oh, why you didn't tell me that information? Because if you would have told me that information, I would have did it. And then you got the other hand where Jake would be like, well, I don't want to hear that. Why did you tell me that? You know what I mean? So that's the whole ordeal with, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. You got to be able to read the spirits. You got to be able to read their spirit. And even then, it's not wise. It's better yet, just if they catch you on the highways and the byways, it's just the best to tell them then and there, all right, the truth, rather than tell them in a workplace or any other place, man. All right. So let's go on here. Okay. Matter of fact, let me read that one more time. All right. This is Colossians chapter 4, verse 5. It says, walk in wisdom towards them that are without, redeeming the time, because, we're in evil times, man. And, Jake, how Jake is, bro. Like, they making videos, they're scoffing and mocking, and, you will have a target on your back. He's the Hebrew Israelite. He's the Hebrew Israelite, like, behind your back and shit at work, and people looking at you sideways because they don't really have an understanding what the real truth is, So, it's best to just, keep your peace, man. All right, this is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 15. It says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So, it's being circumspect, man. All right, matter of fact, let's look up that word. Circumspectly. All right. It says to act circumspectly means to behave or speak in a very careful, cautious, and prudent way, considering all possible circumstances, all right, and potential consequences before acting. So that is the point. Again, it says to behave or speak in a very careful, cautious, and prudent way, considering all possible circumstances and potential consequences before acting. So you got to watch your tongue, man, because you got to think about, all the possible consequences it comes with telling these people the truth and them not being able to understand, and what their reaction may be because of you saying whatever you may say. So, that's a part of just being circumspect, man. All right, it says, but not as fool, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right, because people will hate you, label you, all right, and mark you as a target, all right, in these days, all right, just because you teach the truth and just because they don't understand, all right. Verse 17, wherefore be ye, it says, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understand what is the will of the Lord is. The will of the Lord is to wake up the elect on the highways and the byways. Go out on the highways and the byways. Preach the word on the Urim and the Thummim. All right, on the internet, on the unicorn. All right. And if they so happen to hear the word or see you teach on the highways and the byways, or some way come across your videos and they're able to understand and then learn that way, then hey, so be it. But other than that, then you going out of your way, then no, man. All right. The truth is going to find its way to the elect, man. All right. Because we know that the elect, all right, are predestined to get the truth no matter what. So that's just what it is. All right. Let's get this last scripture right here. All right. This is Sirach chapter 7, verse 16. It says, be not righteous over much, neither making thyself over wise. It says, why should thou destroy thyself? So don't destroy yourself thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to wake this person up because I feel like he's the elect or she's the elect. Nah, man. If it's meant for them to get it, or if it's meant for them to find their path, wherever it may be or whenever it may be, it's going to happen in due time. All right? The scriptures speak about how the Lord said that he's going to give us fame in a land where we will put to shame. So eventually this is going to be broad and on a broad, wide scale. All right. It's eventually going to be publicized. All right. And our faces are eventually going to be out there. So it ain't no rush. All right. In bringing hell and circumstances and consequences to your life by preaching this word to people. All right. Too soon. All right. Let everything work out itself on the Lord's time. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'm going to go ahead and end it out. Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations and blessings to the Akim that do this work in truth and sincerity. Until the next time, I say Shalom.